The market was alive with strange voices. The smell of dust and the sound of chains. Humans rarely came here, but one man walked through the crowd with heavy steps. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and carried the silence of war on his face. Aliens turned their heads as he passed, some in fear, some in curiosity. His armor was scratched and old, his eyes were cold, like someone who had seen too much death. He came to buy food and supplies, nothing more. But fate had already chosen something else for him. At the center of the marketplace, a stage had been built with wooden poles and glowing lights. There behind iron bars stood several alien girls, their hands bound, their faces pale with fear. The crowd shouted prices, some laughed, some pointed, treating lives like broken objects. The human ignored it at first. He kept his eyes forward, but before he could leave, a loud alien voice called out, "Soldier, this one is yours." The human turned his head sharply. One of the alien guards had unlocked a cage and pushed forward a young girl with blue skin and silver eyes. Her clothes were torn, her arms chained, but her face held strange beauty and sadness. The human frowned. "I don't want her," he said in a flat voice. The guard laughed. "She is a gift, human. Take her, no cost, no price." The crowd cheered at the mockery. They wanted to see what the human would do. The girl stumbled forward, almost falling at his feet. She raised her head slowly, her voice shaking but clear. "Human, I was given to you. Why do you refuse to claim me?" The words froze the air around him. The human looked down at her but said nothing. He had seen slaves. He had seen war. He had seen too much. He turned and walked away, expecting her to stay behind, but she followed. Her chains dragging on the ground, her steps weak but stubborn. The crowd laughed louder, pointing at the sight. "Even a human does not want her," they mocked. Her cheeks burned with shame, but her eyes never left his back. The soldier walked to the edge of the market where the noise grew faint. He stopped at a broken fountain and sat. Resting his tired body, the girl stood a few steps away, clutching her chains, her lips trembling. She whispered again, but softer, almost to herself. "Am I so worthless? Even to you?" The human did not answer. He stared at the empty horizon as if searching for something far away. The silence between them grew heavy, filled with unspoken pain. The girl lowered her eyes, her heart sinking, but then his datapad beeped inside his armor. He pulled it out, the screen glowing with a new message. The words on the screen made his jaw tighten. "The one given to you is not what she seems. Protect her or lose everything." The human stared at the message, his cold eyes flicking toward the girl. She looked small, fragile, and helpless. Yet someone had sent this warning. Why her? What secret did she hold? He closed the datapad and stood up. The girl gasped as if expecting him to leave her behind. Instead, he spoke for the first time since the market. "Stay close but don't speak," he said firmly. Her heart leaped with a strange mixture of fear and hope. She nodded quickly, clutching her chains tighter, and followed him into the shadows of the city. The crowd was gone, the laughter left behind, but in the dark streets eyes were watching. Figures moved in silence, following them from the rooftops. The girl felt the weight of danger but said nothing. The human's hand rested near his weapon. His steps steady, he knew something was coming. The gift he never wanted had just changed his path forever. The girl looked up at him one more time, her silver eyes glowing softly in the dim light. She whispered once again, a fragile question carried by the night. "Why do you refuse to claim me, human?" He did not answer. Not yet, but deep inside, something had already begun to change. The road beyond the market was empty, filled with dust and broken stone. The human walked with heavy steps, and the alien girl followed. Her chains scraped the ground, leaving faint marks behind them. She tried to walk in silence, but every drag of metal echoed in the night like a curse. He did not slow for her. He did not look back. He walked as if she were invisible, but she was still there, always 2 steps behind, always watching him with those silver eyes. When they reached the edge of the ruined district, he stopped by an old stone wall. He dropped his bag and sat. His shoulders stiff, his face carried a storm. Silent and dangerous, the girl stood nearby, unsure if she was allowed to rest. Finally, she whispered, her voice shaking, "Why will you not look at me, human?" He did not answer. His eyes stayed on the horizon. The silence between them stretched, heavy like a chain around her heart. She felt smaller than ever, unwanted even by the one she had been given to. At last, she lowered her head, speaking more to herself than to him. "Even the others laughed at me." They said no one would want me, not even a human. The human's jaw tightened. But he stayed silent. He took out his data pad again. The same strange message blinked on the screen, glowing softly in the darkness. Protect her or lose everything, he frowned, his eyes narrowing. What did it mean? Why her? She looked fragile, weak, chained like all the others. Yet someone wanted him to protect her. The girl sat on the ground, hugging her knees. She stared at the cracked stone and tried to stay quiet. But inside her chest, questions burned. Why had she been given to him? Why did he reject her? Why did he not even strike her? Every other master she had heard of was cruel. Yet this one was cold in a way she could not understand. Hours passed. The stars glowed above and the ruined city fell silent. The girl's eyes grew heavy, but she dared not sleep. She was afraid that if she closed her eyes, he would leave her behind then. A sound came from the shadows, soft but sharp like a knife against stone. The human's hand went instantly to his weapon. His cold eyes scanned the rooftops. The girl's heart raced. She looked around in fear. 3 figures stepped out from the dark. Their bodies were tall, their armor black. Their eyes glowed red. They were hunters, their voices low and cruel. She should not be with you, human, one of them said. She is forbidden property, the girl gasped. Trembling, she tried to move closer to the human. But fear froze her feet. The hunter laughed. Even you do not want her, we can see it, give her back. And we will let you live. The human said nothing. His silence was colder than the night. He stood slowly, his hand resting on his weapon. His eyes met theirs, sharp and unyielding. The girl whispered desperately, please, don't give me back, human. Her words cut the air like a blade. For the first time, his eyes flicked toward her. For the first time, he saw not a burden, but a life trembling before him. The hunters stepped closer, their boots crushing the stones. The human finally spoke, his voice low, dangerous. She walks with me now, the hunters snarled. Then you will die with her. The night exploded in movement. Blades flashed, weapons roared, the human fought like a storm. His training from the war alive again. He moved with deadly skill, each strike precise. The girl could only watch, frozen by both fear and awe. But the hunters were not ordinary. Their weapons glowed with strange light. One strike cut deep into the wall near her head. She screamed, falling to the ground. Her eyes glowed faintly, silver light rising from her skin. The human saw it, his heart freezing. The datapad's warning echoed in his mind. She is not what she seems. He killed one hunter with a brutal strike, the body falling silent. But the other 2 retreated into the shadows. Their laughter echoed. You cannot keep her, human. She will destroy you. Then they were gone. The night silent again. The human stood breathing heavily, blood running down his arm. The girl crawled toward him, tears in her glowing eyes. She whispered in fear, why do they want me? What am I? He looked at her, silent once more. But deep inside, something had shifted. She was no longer just a gift, no longer just a burden. She was a secret the galaxy feared, and now she was his to protect. The night grew colder as they moved through the ruins. The human kept his weapon ready, his steps firm. The girl stayed close, her chains dragging softly. Every sound made her heart jump, but she did not complain. After a long silence, she whispered, why did you fight for me, human? You could have left me. He did not look at her. His voice was flat. Because they would have killed you. She tilted her head, her silver eyes shining in the faint starlight. You don't care for me, but you don't let me die. I don't understand, he kept walking. His silence said more than his words behind his cold eyes. Memories of fire and blood haunted him. He had lost someone once, someone whose voice still echoed in his heart. To protect meant pain, and he had sworn not to feel it again. But the girl was stubborn, she would not give up. She walked beside him even though her feet were bleeding, even though he never gave her kindness. She stayed. Her chains were heavy, yet she never stopped following. They reached an abandoned outpost, half buried in sand. The human pushed open the rusted door and led her inside. He set his pack down and checked the walls, always alert. The girl sat in a corner. Hugging her knees, she tried to stay silent. But her eyes kept pulling toward him. Finally, she asked, do you hate me, human? He paused, looking at her for the first time. His eyes were sharp, but inside them lived shadows. He said nothing, but the weight of his silence was an answer.
Her heart ached. She lowered her head, whispering,
I don't want to be hated, I didn't choose this. They gave me away like an object, I thought. Maybe you would be different. The words cut through the walls he had built inside himself. For a moment he saw her not as a burden but as a girl, alone. Unwanted, trembling in chains, just like he once felt after the war. Lost in a world that did not want him. The night stretched on. A faint wind blew through the broken windows. The girl curled against the wall, her eyes heavy with exhaustion. She wanted to stay awake, but her body betrayed her. She fell asleep in silence, tears drying on her cheeks. The human sat across from her, watching. His hand rested on his weapon, but his eyes kept drifting to her. He noticed the glow beneath her skin, faint silver patterns that pulsed like veins of light. They seemed to react when she was near him, growing stronger when he stared too long. He clenched his jaw, remembering the warning. She is not what she seems. He wanted to push her away, to break the bond before it grew, but something deeper inside him resisted. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed outside. The human stood quickly, his weapon raised. The girl woke with a start, fear flashing in her eyes. Raiders, 6 of them, armed with blades and rifles. Their laughter was cruel as they entered the outpost. A human soldier hiding with a chained alien girl, one mocked. "How low you have fallen." The girl trembled. Pressing back against the wall, the raiders moved closer. "Give her to us, soldier. She'll fetch a price. Or at least some fun." The human stepped forward, his presence like a wall of steel. "She stays," he said, his voice like iron. The raiders sneered. 1 against 6? You'll die here." Then the fight began, the outpost filled with fire, steel, and shouts. The human moved with deadly skill. His training alive again, he struck hard, fast, ruthless. Yet the raiders were many, and one blade cut across his side. The girl cried out, her silver glow flaring. Her chains pulsed with light as if answering her heart. The raider who reached for her stumbled back, his hand burned by the sudden energy. The human saw it, his eyes narrowing. She was no ordinary girl. Her very body carried power. Power she did not understand. Fueled by pain and rage, he finished the fight. The last raider fled into the night. Leaving the dead behind, the outpost grew silent once more. The human leaned against the wall, bleeding. His breathing was heavy. The girl crawled toward him, her hands trembling. "You are hurt?" "Human," she whispered. "Because of me." He looked at her, his face hard, but then her eyes met his, glowing with fear and desperate loyalty, and for the first time he did not push her away. "You are trouble," he said quietly, "but I will not give you to them." Her heart raced. Her chains clinked softly as she reached toward him. Her voice cracked. "Then let me stay, even if you never claim me. Just let me stay by your side." The human did not answer at once. His silence stretched again, but this time it was not rejection. It was thought, it was struggle. Finally he spoke, his voice low. "Stay close. Don't fall behind." The girl's eyes filled with tears. Not of sadness, but of fragile hope. She nodded quickly, her chains shaking. For the first time she felt not like a gift thrown away, but like someone chosen. Outside, the stars burned brighter, but shadows moved in the distance. Watching, waiting. The fight was not over. The true reason for her gift had yet to be revealed, and though he did not admit it, the human had already taken the first step toward claiming her, not as property, but as something far more dangerous. The outpost was silent after the fight. Only the smell of blood and smoke remained. The human tied a cloth around his wound and sat against the cold wall. The alien girl stayed close, her silver eyes watching him with worry. For a long time she said nothing. Her chains clinked softly whenever she moved. The human kept his gaze on the floor as if refusing to see her, but she could no longer keep her questions buried. "Human," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Why do they want me? Why did my people give me away?" He lifted his eyes slowly. His stare was sharp, but behind it lay shadows too deep to measure. "Tell me what you know," he said firmly. The girl hugged her knees, her voice breaking. "I know little, only that my mother cried the night they took me. She begged them not to, but the elders said it was the only way to stop the war, they said. If I was given to a human, our people would be spared." The human's hand tightened on his weapon. The words stabbed old memories, images of burned cities, dying soldiers, the cries of his own wife before she vanished into the smoke. He closed his eyes, forcing the memory away. The girl's voice grew softer. "I was not a daughter anymore. Not even a person. I was a gift, a sacrifice. They told me to smile, to obey, to be quiet, but inside I was screaming. Tears slid down her cheeks. I thought maybe a human would be different, that you would see me as more than a tool. Her words echoed in the room, breaking through the walls of silence he carried. For the first time, he truly looked at her, not just with the eyes of a soldier, but with the eyes of a man who understood loss. You think being given makes you worthless, he said quietly. But I know what it means to lose everything, to be treated as nothing, to carry pain that no one sees. Her silver eyes widened. She felt his voice tremble at the edge of a wound not healed. You lost someone, she whispered. The human turned away, his jaw tightened. His silence confirmed what she already guessed. The weight in his heart was heavy. His past was carved into scars deeper than any wound. The fire between them flickered, casting long shadows on the wall. She reached forward with her chained hands, her voice shaking but brave. Then you understand me, human. You know what it means to be broken. That is why I beg you. Do not leave me. For a long time, he did not move. He sat in silence, caught between past and present. Her words pulled at the chain he had locked around his heart. He wanted to push her away, but his soul was tired of carrying emptiness. Before he could answer, a sound thundered outside. The ground trembled. A light swept across the ruined outpost, bright and sharp. He stood instantly, pulling her behind him from the horizon. A massive ship descended. Its engines shook the earth. Its hull bore the markings of her people. The girl froze, terror flooding her eyes. They came for me, she whispered, her voice cracking. The elders. They want me back. The human raised his weapon, his voice cold. Why now? She shook her head. Because I was never meant to survive long. I was meant to be used, then erased. I'm not just a gift, human. I am their secret. The ship's doors opened, and armored soldiers poured out. Their weapons glowed. Their eyes hard, the leader shouted. Return the girl, human. She belongs to us. She is dangerous. The human pulled her closer. What danger? He demanded. The girl trembled, her silver glow flickering beneath her skin. I don't know. But they fear me, even as they gave me away. The soldiers raised their rifles. Aiming at them both, the leader's voice thundered. Step aside, human, or die protecting her. The human's heart pounded. His mind screamed to walk away, to survive, but deep inside a choice was already made. He had once lost everything because he could not protect it. He would not repeat that mistake. He stood firm, his voice like steel. If you want her, you'll have to kill me first. The girl gasped, her eyes wide with shock. For the first time since her chains bound her, someone had chosen her. Not as a burden, not as property, but as someone worth protecting. The soldiers opened fire. The night exploded with light and fury. The outpost shook with fire. Blasts tore through the broken walls. The human pulled the girl behind cover. Bullets and plasma cutting through stone. The air smelled of burning metal and dust. Her hands shook, but she did not cry. Her silver glow flickered under her skin, growing brighter with every shot fired. The soldiers shouted orders, their armored boots pounding closer. The leader's voice echoed, She is not yours to keep, human. Step aside before you both burn. The human's eyes narrowed. His grip on his weapon was steady. He fired back with cold precision, every shot cutting down a soldier. His movements were sharp, trained, deadly. The girl covered her ears as the blasts roared. Her heart raced with fear, yet also with something else. Admiration. More soldiers poured in. They outnumbered him, surrounding the outpost like wolves circling prey. The human threw a grenade. The explosion lit up the night. Bodies fell, screams filled the ruins. But still they came, endless, relentless. The girl grabbed his arm. You cannot fight them all, she begged. Please let us run. He looked at her, his jaw tight. His eyes carried both fury and memory. He wanted to fight, to die standing. But her voice pulled at him. He nodded once, grabbing her chains and pulling her toward the back wall. They smashed through the broken door, running into the wasteland beyond. The night sky burned with searchlights from the ship above. Shadows followed them across the sand. Soldiers fired from the cliffs, their footsteps thundered behind. The girl stumbled, her feet raw and bleeding. The human caught her before she fell. He dragged her up, his breath heavy but unbroken. Keep moving, he ordered. I can't, she cried. I'll slow you down. His eyes burned. Then I'll carry you. Without waiting, he lifted her into his arms. Her chains clinked against his armor. Her face pressed against his chest. She could feel the rhythm of his heart. Fast, steady, unshaken. The soldiers closed in. Light swept across the dunes. The ship above released drones, their red eyes scanning. The wasteland became a battlefield of fire and shadows. The girl's body glowed brighter. The light from her skin spilled across the sand. The human noticed, his eyes sharp. "What is happening to you?" Tears filled her silver eyes. "I don't know, I never knew. My mother said I was different, that the elders feared me. Maybe this is why they gave me away." Her glow flared again as drones descended, their weapons aimed at the pair. The human dropped her gently and stood in front. His weapon raised, the drones fired, he spun, shot, destroyed one, but another came and another. The girl screamed, her glow bursting into a wave of light. The drones faltered, their circuits burned. Sparks showered the sand. The machines crashed down one by one, destroyed not by bullets but by her. The human turned, stunned. The girl fell to her knees, weak, her chains glowing hot. She whispered, "This is why they fear me, human. I am not just a gift. I am their weapon," the soldiers shouted in anger. Rushing faster, the leader roared, "Kill him and take her alive. Do not let her power awaken again." The human stepped in front of her, his body a shield. He fired into the dark, his voice low and hard. "She belongs to no one." The fight raged across the sands. His body moved with deadly grace, but wounds opened. Blood fell. He gritted his teeth, refusing to fall. The girl crawled closer, desperate. "You are bleeding. You will die for me." He looked down at her, sweat and blood on his face. "I told you before. I will not give you back." Her heart shook. Her silver glow softened. She reached out, her chained hands trembling. She touched his arm. Her voice cracked with both fear and hope. "Then claim me, human, not as property, not as their weapon, but as yours." For a moment the battlefield faded. Her words sank into him like fire. He wanted to resist, to keep his heart locked. But the war inside him was breaking. Before he could speak, another blast struck near. Throwing them both into the sand, the soldiers drew closer, their weapons raised for the final strike. The human stood again, his chest burning, his eyes like steel. He raised his weapon with one hand, his other pulling her close. He whispered fiercely, "If I must die tonight, then I die protecting you." The girl's silver glow flared once more. Stronger than before, the sand around them lit like a storm. The soldiers froze in shock, and in that burning light, something new began. Not just survival, but the first spark of destiny. The desert lay in silence after the blast. The dunes still glowed faintly from the silver light that had poured out of her. The soldiers lay scattered, some dead, some fleeing. The ship above pulled back, but its lights circled the wasteland like predators waiting for the right moment. The human stood weak, blood running from his side. His armor cracked, his breaths were heavy. The girl knelt beside him, tears in her eyes, her chains still glowing hot from the power that had escaped her. She whispered in fear, "You fight for me, but you refuse me, human. Why? Why will you not claim me?" His eyes met hers, cold yet trembling. "Because if I claim you, I risk losing you. I once claimed someone, and the war took her. I swore I would never open that wound again." Her heart ached at his words. She reached for his hand, her touch soft despite the iron shackles. "I am not her, human. I am here. I am alive. If you leave me in silence, I will break, please. Do not let me break." He looked at her hand, trembling in his. His chest burned not only from the wound but from the war inside him. He had built walls around his heart, but this girl had walked straight through them without fear. Above, the ship roared. More light spilled across the sand. The girl gasped. "They are calling reinforcements. They will never stop until I am taken. Until I am erased." The human tightened his grip on his weapon. His voice was like steel. "Then they will have to take me first." She shook her head, silver tears glowing on her cheeks. "No, you cannot fight them all. Not alone." Her glow pulsed again, brighter now. It wrapped around her like a second skin. Her chains rattled and cracks began to form in the iron. The human stared in shock. "What are you?" Her voice was soft, filled with sorrow. "I am their fear, human. My power is tied to emotion. It grows when I am near you. That is why they gave me away. They feared I would destroy them." He pulled her close, his jaw tight. "And yet, you are the one they want erased, not because you are weak, but because you are strong." The ship descended lower. Dust whipped across the dunes. Armored figures prepared to land. The girl clung to him, whispering desperately, "Then claim me, human. If you will not, they will. And I would rather die in your arms than live as their weapon." His chest rose and fell with heavy breath. His heart pounded like thunder. He remembered his wife, the face he had lost. But when he looked into the silver eyes before him, he saw not a ghost but a choice. For the first time, his walls cracked, his voice broke. I refuse because I fear hurting you. I fear losing you as I lost her. But if you want me to claim you, then I will. Not as property, not as a gift, but as mine to protect. Her eyes widened. Tears glowing like starlight, she whispered. Then I am yours. Human. The words bound them more tightly than any chain. The ship's doors opened. Soldiers dropped down, weapons drawn. Their leader shouted, "Surrender her now, human." "This is your last chance," the human stepped forward, pulling her behind him, his weapon ready. His voice thundered across the sand. "She is no longer yours to take. She is mine." The girl's glow surged at his words, her chains shattered into pieces. Breaking with a cry of freedom, energy poured from her body, spreading across the dunes like lightning. The soldiers stumbled back, shielding their eyes. The leader roared in fury. "Then you have chosen death." The fleet above shifted. Engines roared like thunder. Dozens of ships appeared on the horizon, filling the night sky with fire. The girl clung to the human, her voice trembling. "We cannot fight them all." His arm wrapped around her, steady and strong. His cold eyes stared at the sky without fear. "Then we fight until the end." The fleet descended, their shadows covering the sand. The world seemed to hold its breath. The final battle had only just begun. The night sky burned with fire. Dozens of ships hovered above, their engines shaking the dunes. The human stood with his weapon ready, the alien girl by his side, her chains shattered, her silver glow spreading across the sand like living light. The soldiers descended in waves, their armor shining, their rifles glowing. The leader's voice roared through the air. "Human, your defiance ends here. Hand her over and you may yet live." The human raised his weapon higher. His voice was cold and unyielding. "She is not yours to take. She is mine to protect." The girl's heart pounded at his words, her eyes filled with silver tears. She whispered, "Then you have claimed me." "Human." The soldiers charged. Their boots thundered across the sand. The human fired, his shots precise. Cutting down the first line, he moved like a storm. Every strike fueled not by duty, but by something deeper, resolve. The girl stayed behind him, her glow flaring brighter each time he fought. The enemy pressed harder, surrounding them, trapping them in a circle of fire and steel. The human fought on, but wounds opened across his arms and chest. His breath grew heavy, his body was breaking. The girl screamed, her silver glow exploding outward. A wave of light swept through the battlefield. Soldiers stumbled back, blinded, their weapons sparking. The human turned to her, shocked. Her glow burned brighter than ever before. "I cannot hold it," she cried. "It will consume me." He gritted his teeth. Stepping closer, he placed his hand on her shoulder, his voice strong. "Then let it consume me too." We stand together. Her eyes widened. Her power pulsed stronger with his touch. No longer wild, it shaped itself, controlled by their bond. Lightning of silver energy arced from her hands. Striking ships above, engines exploded, fire rained from the sky. The soldiers panicked, shouting, some fled. Others fell to their knees as the storm of light tore through their ranks. The leader screamed in rage, charging with his blade raised high. The human met him head-on. Their weapons clashed, sparks flying. The battle was brutal, fast, desperate. The leader struck hard, but the human struck harder. His blade cut true. The leader fell to the sand. His armor shattered. The battlefield went silent except for the crackle of flames. The girl fell to her knees, her glow dimming. She looked at the human with tears. "I am free, because of you." He knelt beside her, his body bleeding, but his eyes steady. He placed his hand on her cheek. "No, you are free because of yourself. I only stood beside you." Her tears fell, glowing like drops of silver. She whispered softly, "Then stay beside me always. Human, do not send me away, do not leave me alone." He drew her close, his voice low. "I once swore never to claim again, but now I claim you, not as a gift, not as a weapon, but as my partner." Her heart leapt, her voice trembled with relief. "Then I am yours forever." The dawn began to rise over the desert. The flames died down. The broken ships lay scattered across the horizon. The battle was over. The war for her had just begun, but in that moment, in the silence after the storm, they were no longer prisoner and protector. They were no longer soldier and gift. They were something greater. Bound by choice, by sacrifice, by love. She rested her head against him, whispering, "Now you have claimed me." "Human!" He held her tighter, his cold eyes finally soft. For the first time since the war, his heart was not empty, it was alive, and together, they walked into the rising sun, toward whatever future awaited them. No longer alone, no longer afraid, forever claimed.